All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today, we're looking at the Venom Mob.
Ooh.
From Hong Kong's Shaw Brothers studio, those martial arts legends.
No,
I know you're already a fan, but here's the thing.
Oh.
They never actually used that name themselves.
Huh.
Venom Mob was a nickname given by English-speaking fans. So we're going to use their Wikipedia page to kind of figure out how they earned that killer nickname.
It is a really cool nickname.
It is.
It really sticks with you.
It does stick.
So what makes them so unique that this name not only stuck, but like it defines a whole style of kung fu filmmaking?
Right. It wasn't just random. It really captures something about them. Their energy and impact, you know.
That's nice presence.
Let's go back to their roots.
Okay.
The Wikipedia page says many of them trained in Peking opera schools in Taiwan. What's the connection there?
Well, Peking opera is like super physical and theatrical. Like imagine acrobatics, stylized movement, very expressive gestures, all part of the performance. And, you know, those skills translate amazingly well to the screen.
Oh, yeah.
It really laid the groundwork for the dynamic, almost choreographed fight scenes that the Venom Mob became so famous for.
So it's not just about punches, it's like performance, visual storytelling.
Exactly. And then you add in director Chang Cheh, who was a huge name in Hong Kong cinema.
Oh, yeah.
He specifically went after these young actors.
Wow.
Because he wanted to like bring a new energy to martial arts films.
I see.
And he saw potential in their Peking opera background.
That's amazing. That must have been a big change for the genre. Like, it wasn't just new actors, it was a whole new way to approach the action.
And he was right on the money, because their breakout film, Deadly Venoms in 1978, was a smash hit.
Huge.
And the screenwriter, Ni Kuang, even wrote the story to showcase each of their special skills.
It's like he made a custom-fit movie for them.
Yeah.
That title is iconic, too, Deadly Venoms.
It's so good.
It just, like, sets the stage for their intensity.
It's a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Which is perfect for their style, right?
Yeah.
Each of the 5 main characters in the film is trained in a different fighting style, and they're all based on venomous creatures. The centipede, the snake, the scorpion, the lizard, and the toad.
I am picturing those fight scenes already.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you got to break down each of these guys and their moves.
Okay, so we'll start with Lu Feng.
Okay.
He was often the villain, known for being a master of weapons.
Makes sense.
And he had this intense, almost scary presence on screen.
Oh, I can see him with, like, deadly precision wielding those weapons.
Yeah, and then there's Chiang Sheng.
Okay.
He could play both heroes and villains, and he was known for his crazy acrobatic skills.
Cool.
There's even this famous scene where he flips and twirls through the air, dodging his opponent so gracefully. It's unbelievable.
That's what I'm talking about, like a martial arts ballet.
Exactly. And then we have Philip Kwok, often the lead hero and a skilled stuntman.
Wow.
Incredibly acrobatic, he brings this daredevil energy to his roles.
Okay, so we've got the weapons master, the acrobat. Who else?
All right, we've got Chien. They called him the Korean kicker.
What?
Even though he's Taiwanese. But his kicks are powerful and lightning fast. It makes sense.
Okay.
Then there's Lu Feng. He's sadly often died first in the films.
Oh, wow.
But he brought this raw power. You know, he was just strong.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have Wai Pak.
Okay.
He liked dramatic roles more, wasn't as focused on fighting, so he ended up being in fewer films with the group.
Wait, so 6 members, but Wai Pak wasn't always there, so is Deadly Venoms misleading?
It is interesting how that 5 concept stayed even though the group wasn't always the same.
Yeah.
And even in their other films, the English titles often use Venom, even if the original Chinese titles didn't.
It's like they knew what audiences liked and just went with it.
Totally. It's marketing genius, right? They had the talent and the name added to the mystery.
So it's not just them as individuals, it's how they all came together and created this larger-than-life image.
Exactly. But we can't forget about the other actors that were so important to their success.
The supporting actors.
Yeah, they weren't just background characters.
Right.
They helped make that unique world of these films.
Give me some names. Who are we talking about?
Okay, so there's Wang Lungwei, often playing the bad guy in early films.
Okay.
And Wang Li, often the villain too, especially as Wai Pak started to be in fewer films.
Okay.
Then there's Sun Shu-pei, usually a villain with not much fighting.
I see.
And Yang Xiong, who you'd see in different roles throughout the Venom films.
Wow, so a whole group of talented people working together.
Yeah.
So even when it wasn't all 6 Venoms, there was still that shared style.
Exactly. And this is where we start to see why the Venom Mob label became more than just those 6 actors.
Okay.
They were part of this bigger movement in filmmaking. You know, a style led by Chang Cheh. It was bigger than any one person.
All right, now you've got me interested. We need to look at those other films where maybe not all 6 were in it, but the Venom energy was still there.
Yeah.
What are some of those early collaborations that made them famous?
So before 5 Deadly Venoms made them stars, there was Marco Polo.
Okay.
From 1975, it had Lu Feng and Kwok in it, showing off their skills before they were the famous pair.
So Chang Cheh was like putting the pieces together?
Yeah, like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Getting ready for this new style of martial arts.
Right.
And then in 1976, there's Shaolin Temple.
Okay.
With Chiang Sheng, Mang and Wai Pak.
Yeah.
It really shows those Peking opera influences. Very elaborate, almost dance-like fights.
Against the backdrop of Shaolin Temple.
Yeah, exactly. So even in those early films, you can see what would become the Venom Mob style.
It's more than just the actors, it's like a whole look.
Yeah, a whole aesthetic.
And their Wikipedia page has this table listing all the Venom films.
Oh, yeah.
The ones directed by Chang Cheh with at least 3 of the main guys.
At least 3, yeah.
It's amazing how much they did as a group, especially after 5 Deadly Venoms.
They were busy.
Give me the highlights. What are the must-sees?
Okay, Invincible Shaolin from 1978. That's a classic. All 6 are in it. The fights are amazing. It's got that classic Shaolin justice theme.
Yeah.
Rebelling against bad officials.
Cool.
But with that Venom Mob energy and acrobatics.
Sounds like the perfect example of their style.
Yeah, and then there's Crippled Avengers, also from 78.
Okay.
It really pushed boundaries.
How so?
The main characters, they all have disabilities, but they become amazing fighters.
Wow, that's really interesting. It's more than just being strong. It's about resilience and fighting spirit.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if it reflects like changing social views on disability at the time.
You know, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It definitely adds another layer to the film.
Beyond the action.
Exactly. And then there's Kid with the Golden Arm from 79.
Okay.
A bit darker, more violent, but also funny with great characters.
I like it.
Sunjina, the Korean kicker.
Yeah.
He really shines in this one.
Awesome.
Taking down enemies super fast.
So each film had its own thing going on, but still kept that core Venom Mob feel.
Yeah, for sure. And there were some that really focused on individual Venom skills.
Like a spotlight on their strengths.
Exactly. Magnificent Ruffians from 79. It gave Chiang Sheng a chance to show off his acrobatics.
Nice.
Really crazy chase scenes.
Wow.
It's like parkour meets kung fu.
Oh, I gotta see that.
He's like leaping and tumbling through the streets.
That visual style must have been something else.
Oh, absolutely. And if you want to see weapons, you have to watch 10 Tigers of Guangdong.
Okay.
From 1980. Lu Feng uses everything. Swords, staffs.
Yo!
He's just so menacing on screen.
They were so good at balancing individual talent with the group dynamic.
Yeah, and their Wikipedia page mentions some behind-the-scenes drama with Fu Sheng.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Well, Fu Sheng was a big star at Shaw Brothers in the 70s.
Okay.
Part of the Fantastic Four group before the Venom Mob. Seems like there was some rivalry, especially with Chiang Sheng, as the new guys got more popular.
Ooh, I love a good rivalry.
Right.
Was it just professional or was there something more personal?
Hard to say. There are rumors of arguments, even a fight.
Oh, wow.
But we don't know all the details. They had different styles,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe there was some tension over who got the best parts.
Yeah, who was getting more screen time?
But maybe it was more complex than just jealousy.
Right.
Maybe creative differences or dealing with how the genre was changing.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to oversimplify these things.
Yeah.
And sadly, Fu Sheng died in a car crash in '83.
Yeah.
That must have been a huge loss for Shaw Brothers.
Absolutely. It really affected the studio and the whole martial arts genre.
Yeah.
It reminds us that these films were made in the real world.
Yeah.
With all its complexities and tragedy.
But it adds another layer to their story, right? It's not just about the action.
Yeah.
It's about the lives of the people making them.
Exactly. And speaking of behind the scenes, we've talked about all these great films.
Yeah.
But the Venom Mob, they disbanded in 1981.
What happened? Why'd they split up? It's like their story's got its own drama. You know, the rise, the peak, then the fall.
Yeah, it's a classic tale.
So what happened? Why did this awesome team break up?
Well, a few things happened at the same time. First, martial arts films weren't as popular anymore in Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Okay.
Audiences wanted something new. Other genres were becoming more popular.
That makes sense. Trends change. Even the best things need to adapt to stay relevant.
Exactly. And on top of that, Chang Cheh changed his career.
Really?
He started focusing on mainland China. So he wasn't working where the Venom Mob had their success.
So you've got outside stuff like audiences changing and the industry shifting, and then inside stuff like Chang Cheh moving on.
Right. It was a perfect storm for them to disband.
But even though they didn't stay together forever, their impact is huge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Going back to that Venom Mob label, it really shows how much they influenced things.
It's true. They became a whole style, a whole era.
Their films are still watched all over the world.
And they've inspired so many filmmakers.
They took the genre to another level, the athleticism, the visual style, the way they told stories through the fights.
And don't forget those Peking opera influences.
Right. They brought something really special to the choreography.
It wasn't just fighting, it was performance, it was art.
And their films weren't just big in Hong Kong, they went global, brought kung fu to a bigger audience.
So they weren't just action stars, they were like cultural ambassadors.
They shaped how people saw martial arts and maybe even Asian culture.
That's a great point. Their films had ideas and a look that went beyond language.
It's amazing how something that started in Hong Kong ended up having a worldwide impact.
It shows their talent and the power of movies.
It really does.
Makes you wonder, what if they were making films today?
Oh, yeah.
With all the new tech and storytelling, imagine the action scenes they could make.
Oh, man. Those moves, those stunts, with today's special effects.
They'd be incredible.
Right, like a modern reboot with Lu Feng as a super assassin using his weapons in the future.
Yeah. Or Chiang Sheng leading a team of acrobatic thieves pulling off crazy heists.
With those amazing parkour moves.
So many possibilities. Maybe someone listening will make that modern Venom Mob movie.
I hope so. What a legacy that would be.
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate how their work still excites us after all these years.
Totally. And even though we've covered a lot today, there's always more to discover.
Right, the Wikipedia page is just the beginning.
Exactly.
So to sum it all up, they didn't choose the name, but the Venom Mob lived up to it.
For sure.
They brought something new and exciting to martial arts films, and we still feel their influence today.
Absolutely. And to leave you with something to think about, if you could pick one Venom Mob member for a modern reboot, who would it be and what would their story be?
That's a great question for our listeners. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Venom Mob. Until next time, keep exploring and keep watching those kung fu films.